This is where the fun begins.
It is settled then. My wealth will fund the rebellion while Garm provides our fleet and Mon Mothma our soldiers.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
Are you sure? So be it. Did you miss me?
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
Good Wedge in Antilles. Good morning, everyone, and how are you doing? And welcome to this week's CAF Chats. I am so excited to be here with you here on OG Star Wars channel. I am your host, Alora. And what is in your mug? So what are you enjoying? What did you bring to the laptop, the computer, or your mobile device to sit in and listen into and participate in the chat? What is the drink you are enjoying? As for me, of course, it's CAF with a little bit of cream, a little bit of sugar, nothing too fancy right now. And yeah, so here I am, and here we are. Good morning here from Cali, the west coast of the United States. And I know a lot of you guys participate and come in and support from different areas of the world, not only the United States. So thank you so much for joining in and supporting. Now, please hit that like button and share out to all the social medias that you are a part of to let everybody know where to come to talk, discuss, nerd out about George Lucas era of Star Wars. And also, if you're catching the replay, thank you so much. I appreciate those who come in and listen through, because sometimes it's not a big favor, or not a favor, I wouldn't say, a thing of people to want to go back and listen to lives. They'd rather listen to already pre-recorded material based upon the content that is being reported in that. So if you're coming in to support and watch the replay, thank you so much. Leave me a comment below. Let me know you are here. And as always, become a channel member. And I keep on forgetting to award channel membership. I know I can do that as a channel owner here. So I'm going to look into that and start doing that. I want to see you guys come in and do the book club with us, the listen party of the books. We are currently on book 4, which we are going to do this Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So channel members and mods, look out for the link. I will have that prepped here by or before this Saturday. Yeah, and we are on book 4 of Young Jedi Knight. So if you have not read or listened to, you could still catch up. You could still pick up on book 4 and then go back and catch up on your own time. I do get the links, the audiobooks from Young Jedi Knight's YouTube channel. So thank you so much. They gave me an honorific membership to their Patreon, which I greatly am humbled and, and very grateful for. And so, supporting each other under the premise of, highlighting and celebrating George Lucas era of Star Wars, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get into the chat here. And as I do that, today we are switching up gears. We're going a little bit forward into the historical timeline of the New Jedi Order. We are going to get into the comic equals and opposites with Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors. Yes, I know that's like 28 ABY. And we are barely like out of Star by Star timeline. But I wanted to get into that story and not wait. Now I am highly thinking about going over the Invasion comics as well. Once we could already start covering them off and on during this time. Even though they're not very favored or very popular comics, they are still a part of the New Jedi Order timeline events. And even though the books are the ones that make up our stage, the timeline of events, I think it's very important to get into those events there and discuss that. So I'm thinking about adding that on top of, beginning that on top of getting through the regular timeline. And those Invasion comics basically start in almost like the beginning of the timeline of the New Jedi Order. So there you go. Dun, dun, dun. So we think that we're going to finish this up within this year. I don't think so. This New Jedi Order talk is going to go on for a little while, although we will have times where we're going to say, you know what, we're going to pause here and talk about this other thing going on in Star Wars, or we're going to cover this other historical event in Star Wars and stuff. So there's going to be, opportunities to take breaks and talk about a character, and maybe Jaina Solo will be another individual we'll talk about as we get closer to her becoming Sword of the Jedi. So that's going to be an interesting talk. So this is all about getting into this historical timeline of New Jedi Order, the events and all of that, to highlight this great invasion that had happened within the timeline, something that has never fully happened in Star Wars before. We got used to talking about the different type of Sith empires, including Sidious's, the Empire, or the Galactic Empire. But this invasion is something different and stages unity, like unity between opposing forces. Even though there's a peace treaty that was already signed between the Imperial Remnant and all of that in Hand of Thrawn duology, you see what alliances are made and broken. You see who is really for themselves versus for the greater good of the galaxy. So we've already been through, we already seen the New Republic fall. So I can't wait to get into to the events after on what happens with the New Republic, how it forms back into another type of government. We'll get into that. Well, I wouldn't say type of government. It doesn't necessarily change the goals and purposes of it stays the same. It's just the name that changed. And how, the Imperial Remnant and I guess you could say the New Republic Remnant unite. And so that's going to be some fun and interesting events to go over. So let me go ahead and get in the chat before I keep on rambling. But on top of that, we are going to get into, cringe factor as well. And what is crazy about that is it's being shared that there's going to be stories or something regarding the Jedi are going to be the villains and the Sith, the heroes. So we'll get into that. What direction is Disney going with these stories and why? So that should be fun. That should be fun. And then, of course, maybe some Star Wars news. I wanted to talk a little bit about what you guys think about what Tartavoski said about returning. I wouldn't say returning, because returning means he'd be going back to George Lucas's Lucasfilm, right? So coming into Disney Lucasfilm to do more stories. So we'll talk about that here soon as well. But I do have to leave here before 11. So I do have an appointment. So this is going to be a little bit shorter, more concise. Hopefully, I just keep on rambling because I'm excited to be here with you guys. All right. So Jacob is here. Hi, how are you doing? And a channel member, what's up? Silver, how are you doing? One of our people who participates in the book club as well. So thank you so much this Sunday at 6 p.m. So mark your calendar, save the date. I will have the link for you guys so you guys can register. It's a webinar thing so that this is more of a more of a private thing that we do together for the memberships and mods. So there we go. Share the stream and smash the like. Thank you so much. And my mod here, Soul Assassin, what's up? What's up? Yes, my birthday passed. I really didn't say much about it at all or anything about it on Twitter or anywhere else, really. My birthday was Tuesday. I have had a busy couple of weeks and I wanted to do a panel invite on my close associate friends that I've made here on YouTube. But that wasn't going to happen. So I didn't stress about it. I'm like, it is what it is. Maybe next year I can get a panel and celebrate. And then you guys can talk with me and ask me questions about, Star Wars and stuff, like my interest in Star Wars and all of that. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait for another time. And let's see, Holocron Library Fox, hello, and how are you doing? Conrado is here. How are you doing? Press the like is. He's trying to be Yoda-esque, huh? And then Melissa Lord, another channel member who participates when she can in the book club as well. And she mostly listens to, which is cool. If you're like busy and you still want to participate and you're busy and you're multitasking, put in your earbuds, listen, and go about, say hello, at least so I know you're here, and do what you need to do. It's about coming together in this book club, enjoying what we love, and that's a beautiful opportunity. Another mod here. Everyone hit the like. Yes, you guys. Looks like all my mods are here. Hello, don't be illiterate fucks like Star Wars normie and stupid ass waves. Exactly. And thankfully, it seems I got spared the age verification thing. Hopefully, McShill isn't so lucky. Oh my God. I've been so busy. I had to go back and see what the current thing is happening here. And so last night I was reading everything, even if I didn't respond it in some of the DM chats that I'm in, like our Gatekeepers Alliance one. I was going and reading like, oh, this is what's going on here. So I was doing my own investigation, trying to catch up with all the stuff because I've been so busy and I don't want to be out of the loop. I want to make sure that I know what's going on and what's being said. So I'm like not here like scratching my head like, what the fuck? This is what happens when your life gets busy. They tell people, like they tell us EU elitist, and I say that with pride. I'm really a George Lucas era of Star Wars fan. That's my thing, because George Lucas era of Star Wars is not only the movies, but it consists of all the multimedia that has been produced under him, he overseen and approved of. Soul Assassin. Yes. So sub 2 Young Jedi Knights audiobooks. Yes. And I thank you guys for doing that so we can have them, because I've seen on Twitter maybe a month ago by J.I. Akam that he was like, oh, we should really celebrate. And I'm being hyperbolic and paraphrasing because I don't have the tweet in front of me. We should celebrate all things Legends because they are reprinting so that we can still have these books. Without them, this would never be possible. And I'm like, hey, first of all, that was never a problem before Disney. Every book was, being sold, no matter if it's like a Scholastic type book or one from Bantam or whatever. But since the acquisition of Lucasfilm, they stopped printing some books, and Young Jedi Knights is one of them. So you're not going to get reprints of Young Jedi Knights. So that's why that was another emphasis of my book club, is to go over these books that many people are having a hard time, recollecting or collecting to put on their bookshelves, because some of them as a series, like Young Jedi Knights, 14 books, right? People are selling for a lot of money. Now, Thrift Books does have them on for sale or on their website, like $3, $4, $5 a book. So I always recommend that place. Get your books before they sell out, and you can no longer acquire them because, again, Disney is not printing every single book that was under George Lucas's Star Wars. So that's very important. So when someone like that talks, like they know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't. Obviously, I just share that. They don't. They're being disingenuous. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And let's see here. Everybody say hello. Let's see here. Had to stop Star by Star on chapter 20. Time to prep for next pure unadulterated Star Wars. The grind is real. Yes, and I have to go back and make sure I have important notes that I want to bring up ready to go. So I'm pretty excited about that. So on the 26th, that's a Monday, right? We are gathering again for part 2. And so join us there. Join us there. And let's see here. Be sure to wish OG a happy birthday. Only 343 on birthdays till her next birthday. Let's see here. When will you talk about the new Star Wars? I ain't never talking about the new Star Wars unless it's something I'm comparing and contrasting and all that. Never. That's not a focus of this channel. Again, I will do compare and contrast. I will use it for cringe factor, what have you, but it's not the lore that's fake Star Wars. That's not real Star Wars, not authentic, that or something that George overseen and approved of. Let's see here. All right. I know that there's people I didn't say hello here to yet, but I'm moving my way down here. Like Mike, hello. Lot of August birthdays. I agree. August is a, let's see here. So August, we are the 8th month. So this means that there was a lot of fun celebrating during the holidays, right? Parents were having fun during the winter holidays. Winter holidays. Yep. Let's see here. Yes, check out my merch. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Speaking of normies, what the hell was up with yesterday and all the hate for Revan, Exarchun, Vitiate? I always say his friggin' name wrong. With the shields. What the hell, man? It was a bash on like George Lucas's era of Sith and stuff like that. It was fucking crazy because even there was something against Sidious too that was said. Unreal. And then Star Killer as well as, oh well, if you don't like this guy from Acolyte and you say he breaks continuity with Rule of Two, then you're a hypocrite. And they, shared a picture of Star Killer. I read with my pinky out, kind of classy that way. Aw, look at you. And Lucas is here. And so is Double A. Yes. Let's see here. J.I.A. Cup wants to be the Disney version of Jocasta Nu. Find all the Wedgens books. I bet he doesn't even read them. And that's the conclusion I think we've been coming up with that. A lot of these people who are talking about these books, all the books and stuff, it seems like either they're speed readers. I know Matt Wilkins, he is absolutely one of them, but he is more intelligent than these guys. 100%. This guy he's witty, he's more intelligent, all of this here. These guys, I don't believe they are. I think they're just full of shit. I think they are parroting Wikipedia. There we go. I said it. So sub to Gatekeepers Alliance, and I hardly get to play this clip, so I'm going to do it now. Let me scroll down.
Fuck the fandom menace.
Fuck the fandom menace.
And there you go. So that thing, that group or whatever that was supposed to be the group to fight the culture war no longer exists. It's like the purpose of it is long gone. Many people have shown how hypocritical they are on their moralities and their stance regarding that. And there, I said it too. All right, so let's go ahead. Like I said, I have to, I'm on a time frame, so I'm just yapping away because I like being here with you guys. However, we do need to get into our segues here. So basically, our next Lucas Facts and Book of the Week and stuff. So let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so let me see. Let me click on here. But I do want to play this while I take a sip of coffee.
I'm telling you, this finale, it's unbelievable how tepid contemporary art seems compared to the passionate quality of this finale. So you have this like huge, like it's like romantic nature painting, apocalyptic landscape of the lava. Lucas cross-cuts the destruction of the Senate chamber, and you have the destruction of industry going on. And then, after all these horrors, it is so beautiful. I'm saying, my God, nothing in the last 30 years in any of the arts has been produced as emotionally compelling and significant as the finale of Revenge of the Sith.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
All right, Lucas Facts. So let's get into this. Let's do this. So, you know me, I always like to go above and beyond on research and all of that. And sometimes I can pull something that has always been shared or what have you, or less shared, but it is all about education here with these Lucas Facts. Does it mean it's directly from George Lucas? No, but Lucas, like Lucasfilm, any type of business department that he has under Lucasfilm is Lucas and is approved by and sanctioned by and is his business. So here we go. Officially, everything in the Star Wars publishing universe is canon, though George Lucas retains creator privileges because he is the owner. He's the one that's the vision. He's the creator to override anything he wants. Lucasfilm employs a keeper of the holocron, namely Leland Chi, to keep it all straight. In this Star Wars is unique from most other franchises. DC, for example, keeps the Bantam comics separate from the Dark Knight movies and Arkham Asylum, the video game. So there you go. So it gives you a description of how unique and different Lucasfilm Star Wars is, where it's one continuity, one historical timeline, than like other franchises like DC and even Star Trek, for example, where you have a lot of offshoot stories that are and not a historical timeline. And that is something that George Lucas approved of, because the company can't do anything like that unless it's approved, right? It's kind of funny that people's arguments that, oh, well, just because you are, let me back up. My mind's going 1,000 miles a minute because I woke up in such a great mood and I'm drinking a lot of CAF, a lot of caffeine going on here. And I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm purely on CAF. Many people think when in the defense are countering us EU elitists, I guess you could say, that George was not a part of or whatever. Like, he was very absent from all these decisions as if he's a bad business person. And I don't think they see that clearly what they're making George look to be in the defense of what they say of George. It's kind of sad. It's like they don't have no self-awareness. It's very, very sad. Double A says, I bet Disney shills are the Rey infidels, have never ever watched History Channel, Star Wars Legacy revealed documentary. They wouldn't even know what that is. That is it. I haven't watched that in a while. Now I'm going to watch it. I haven't seen that in a while, but yes, exactly. Leland has more authority over the timeline. Yes, he was hired for that. Daniel Wallace could have met him if not for the SJWEU fans. Correct. Right? That's a whole different story. Matt Wilkins and a group. I probably won't be able to make it. My daughters do around the time of the meetup, but there is, because of the Legends convention cancellation in Texas, there's still a group that's meeting up in September, and I shared the link in from Matt in my YouTube post. So go check that out if you're still interested in going and meeting and participating in all the events that they're doing. It's very casual. It's not like they're making this convention. It's just a meetup, and you have the options of participating with twin sons at the hospital to give books, and you are asked to bring book if you want to do that, and other things and meetups and what have you. Go ahead and check out that link, see the description, what's going on and where the hotel is, what have you, and check it out. I'm a little bummed, but then again, I am really happy to the changes, the beautiful changes in life that's coming into our family. So that's a celebration in itself. So those who can go, have a great time. I wish I could be there and meet everybody that I've talked about Star Wars with, and the preservation of George Lucas era Star Wars in person. I'm just gonna have to wait for the next one, if that is ever possible. I'm hoping that this becomes something where, we have a meetup on a regular basis, because I would absolutely love to go to the next one. Just this time around, my priorities is home. And that's all I have to say, but I'm excited. So yes, so if you guys are interested, if you can possibly make time, and you want to support the greater community, feel free to do so. All right. So let's get into our next little bit here, and we'll get into our book of the week, which may not be a surprise to you. Let's do this.
I hate to say it, but it looks like the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
When I was making that, I was like, damn, I'm making Obi-Wan Kenobi look like a bad guy. But then I'm like, well, maybe he's researching on a false story that came up. But I love that clip. I absolutely love that clip. So here is the book of the week, or should I say comic of the week. Yes, it's the comic that we're going to go through here today. So Equals and Opposites, the Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn story. So how many of you guys are aware of this comic and know of this comic or have read it? It's kind of sad, but kind of there's a reality to it, a reality of always being in war. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Tion Salusar is greater than Jocasta Nu. I like both of them. Both of them have some wonderful characteristics. So let's see here. OG just wants to quiz everyone. Who's the best EU elitist? All right. So let's get back to this. And those who are channel members, I would like to see EU elitists in the chat. So go ahead. I do have an EU elitist emoji in there. And that's another thing you can do as a channel member. And I wish mods were able to access that. That's something I wish that they could do. Come on, YouTube, if you're listening. Hey, one of those things, huh? If you're listening, YouTube, I would love to have mods that able to use those membership things. All right. Writer Nathan P. Butler. Penciler James Reyes. Reyes or Reyes? I always have a problem with that one. Letterer. Michael Heisler. colorist Michael Atiyeh, and it was published October 20th, 2004. Timeline is 28 ABY. Like I said, we're jumping ahead. This is not gonna ruin, talking about the events and everything that's happening that we're following and I'm doing here and talking with you guys about. There's only small continuity notes because this is this is almost like a standalone story for these two in the events going on in the invasion, the Yuuzhan Vong War. Continuity notes takes place between New Jedi Order, Force Heretic 1 and 2. So this is where it lies. And it's a very interesting comic, which I'm going to bring up here pretty soon, because guess what? Remember when I had Stig here as a co-host and we're going over and reading and reviewing the comics and the art of the comics? This is going to be that, but I'm on my own. This is not a very long comic, but we're going to pull them up. We're going to read and go over that. So you'll get to see some of the art from the penciler and the colorist, and we're going to go over that. So something different, change of pace. Oh, and by the way, now that I'm remembering, I'm going on vacation next week from Wednesday to Friday. So there will be no CAF chats. However, there'll still be book club. And will there be book club? I think so. And we will begin on the next book. I think it's Traitor. The following Friday. So we get into the events of Traitor. And this is where we get to see, I think it's Traitor. I might be confusing. Like I said, I don't have the timeline in front of me. I do confuse the order of some of the books. I'm human. Especially a New Jedi Order, because it's such a big series. So big that some people can't seem to get through it or want to read it because it scares them to death. But yes, we're getting to the next one. It's Traitor. Yeah. And that should be it. Fake fan confirmed. Oh no, I can't remember which one goes after. Ah! Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, so let's get into this here. But before we do that, speaking of like the meetup and Matt Wilkins, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, where is it? I'm still not used to how they redid the outline here on the side where where you have the clips and stuff, but I found it. Here we go.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the Expanded Universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The Expanded Universe respects the reader. In the Expanded Universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the Expanded Universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the Expanded Universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story and continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the expanded universe.
This is cool. Master Jedi Luke is so heartwarming to follow on the EU. Love seeing him growing up after every experience, successful or not. He always learns and never gives up. That's his quality. That's the quality that Lucas himself wanted to share with the generations, any generation, is to never give up. And that was such a great archetype for Luke, and a great visual and experience and relatable to any generation. You know, they try to say, oh, well, Star Wars is generational. No, it's timeless. Yes, there was like two, like both trilogies were made in certain generations. That's fine. But when you look at it, they're timeless stories, because anyone from any specific generation could watch it and relate to and see things and experiences and relate to those, and even the current events of the day. And when you start adhering things and making it not timeless, you lose that escapism, and you know how it feels. It expires. There's expiration date to that. But with that being said, let's go ahead. I'm going to go and pull up the comic, because I was just busy reading the comments to have pulled up. So let's see, window. Oh crap, cancel. I haven't pulled up one of these things before, and I need to get into, I think, 415. I need to make sure the page is correct. Okay, there we go. There we go. So you guys, how many of you guys read this comic or know about this comic? Equals and opposites. This is Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn. You know, eccentric or standalone. I guess you could say standalone, even though it's a part of the New Jedi Order. Let's see here. Here it is. Share. So here we go. I wish it had its own cover, because I don't like that cover. Oh, how come it's not sharing? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's just delay on my side. So hopefully I don't have any problems. I haven't had any problems in a while. Okay, let's see here. That's what Disney didn't understand or understand. Luke is a hero who never gives up, no matter how hard it is to him. He keeps fighting anyways. Even in the time of mourning Mara Jade and this is in Fury, even though he kind of stood on the sidelines, he was still there for his Jedi Knights. He was still there to help guide in a way. He never ran away. He never abandoned anyone. Yeah, and let's see here. Not as well versed in the Katarn or Jan Or's relationship. Okay, so this one right here, many of you guys would be like, "Oh my God, she's a bitch." But I don't know if you guys read this or not, and it might be a shocker to you. But also, it's the reality of war, and so you're like, why are you saying like Jan Ors is being a bitch? Well, let's get into the story here, and I'm not trying to say she is one or anything like that. It's just how it might be perceived if they're your favorite couple and all this. But I'm like jumping ahead of myself here. So yeah. So this right here, equals and opposites. So this is basically 28 ABY. You know, Ord, Cedra, and Imperial Remnant World, Ard Cedra. They walk herded like animals, mother, fathers, and children, all soon to be slaves of the Yuuzhan Vong Empire, corralled by the invader collaborators, and peace brigades. Now I feel like I need to be like purist and have some music in the background, right? And an oppressive village fallen before a handful of extragalactic warriors and human traders to their own galaxy. In the grand scheme, they are nothing. To their captors, they are simply infidels praying for providence, survivors, and even a Jedi Knight. All right. Now look at this right here. Look at here. The art looks pretty nice. It looks really, really decent. You can see the rain coming down, all of that. So I don't see anything like bad as of yet. So here we go. So what is your husband waiting for? And that's Jan Orris he's talking to. Success usually requires precise timing. He knows what he's doing. And he's not my husband, Lieutenant Palin. Right. I knew that. And so there they go. So we have these guys being captives. They're being herded as slaves, abused, all of that because Yu Zhanbang doesn't give a shit. Take my hand. Get up, you little wench. You'll need all your strength to survive your new masters. Get moving. And so this is the Peace Brigade that we have talked about in the lore already. No, I think this is far enough. And so he force pushes. There you go. Jedi. There we go. That's how they say it, huh? Jedi. Hey, how's that for fate, Jedi? I'm sure these stormtroopers will know what to do with you. Actually, well, Katarn, I must say I'm impressed. My combining Jedi Imperial intimidation, you've done what my men alone were unable to do for several days. And so that's the lieutenant talking to Katarn. Troopers did their job well, Lieutenant Palin. Only after your arrival, this is my first real command. I'll never hear the end of it. So he's all worried that Kyle Katarn came in and basically saved them from enslavement, which we already know how big of a threat and how merciless these Yu Zhanbang are. Hey, if your scouting party hadn't caught sight of the Peace Brigade transport, these people would have been dead by now. You choose to intervene. Your choice saved these people. So he's giving him credit, like, if his scouting party didn't see the Peace Brigade, it would have been a lot worse, right? Kyle and I were able to divert here from our meeting with the Imperial leadership only because you were here to call for backup. Don't be so hard on yourself. And so they're discussing the lieutenant's being hard on himself. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see here. I'm just a guy with a lightsaber, a blaster arsenal, and some force powers, and a few questions. I'd love to see Jan and Kyle's children. I know, right? I mean, I wonder, once we get, I'm going to ponder this because this comic's not very long. But I wonder if, like, between Crucible and Legacy comics, they would be really old to probably have children. But anytime, like even after, because we know that once Legacy comes after Darkness trilogy, they didn't get married as far as I know, and they didn't have children. So, I wonder, Star Wars has technology to win, far advanced than ours. So a woman may possibly could have children at an older age. I don't know. All right. Your men can take it from here. There's a small security building back in the village. It's not much, but it should be enough to hold the Vong. So this is the timeline, I believe, when Pelion may have fully sided with the New Republic remnant, or the newly formed new government, I guess you can say, and lone troops. So I'm guessing this is the timeline. Again, I'm going back through the reread of the New Jedi Order, so I could be off on a little bit of historical events, but it seems like this is during that time. Just don't leave them unguarded for a moment. So Kyle Katarn tells the lieutenant not to leave them unguarded because they still have, these Vong are imprisoned, all of that. Old buildings, old bars. I get the picture. We only have to hold them overnight, though. You did. Okay, then how bad could it be? He says. How bad could it be? Okay, well, we'll see. You did it again. And this is Jan to Carl. It's pouring down rain, and you had to toss off the cloak to play hero. And then Katarn says, oh, you loved every minute of it. The classic back and forth with these two, if you guys know how they talk to each other. You think. I just wonder if all Jedi have that same dramatic flair. Well, Luke named his son Ben, so what does that tell you? He tells her. That's twice now you've mentioned children. For first, the girl outside, now Ben. Are you trying to tell me something? I don't know. Will you marry me? And she says, no. Then nope, not a thing. So he proposes to her and she says no. He's talked about children, hinting around about making a life with the woman he loves. And it says, Kyle's near-death experience might have changed Jan's opinion on marriage. There's probably already a technology for that issue on the on that galaxy, right? Let's see here. Corn, don't fall for that, bro. Just say you want children. Believe me. Oh, but see, the thing is that Corn and Terex Merrick's got married under wedge. Oh, let me go back. I hate when that happens. Where are we at? I lost my place. I hate when that happens. Oh, here we go. So we're right here. And let's go on. Jan, we've known each other for most of our lives. We've been through everything together. We've known each other, cared for each other for almost longer than I can remember. I love you. You love me. We could die any day in this war. Why can't we take this step before it's too late? And she pleads with him. That's why, Kyle, if when we become the next Luke and Mara, it shouldn't be just because we might not be alive to do it later. When we make that commitment, when we do get married, we should be able to settle down and enjoy it, not do it out of fear. Oh, fuck, I hate when that happens. Sometimes this thing can be a bitch. Okay, go back. Okay, let me zoom out a little. Let me just click the button here. There we go. Now you can see the bottom. And then he has his under attacks. Vong are loose. There we go. So they're getting something on the comm. The lieutenant was told to keep guard of the Vong at all times. And Kyle's like, you guys better make sure. He warned them. And look what happened. Okay. It never fails. Idiots, I told them they had to closely watch the Vong in those antiquated cells. This isn't, oh no, Pelin. And so he runs. Look at the Vong. Look at this artwork for the Vong. Look at that. That's freaking amazing how that looks. Like the details, how vicious they look. Like when you read in the books and they give descriptions on how they form their faces, and all this stuff, and how they look to humans. This is amazing right here. Jan, toss me my Jan. All right. She takes off. So help me, if you get yourself killed, woman. So he takes off. He ignites his lightsaber. This has been the story of their life, right? This like from the beginning, since they started falling for each other. No, please. And then whoosh. So he gets a saber. Where's Jan? Inside. She's inside. Couldn't stop them. Sorry, very sorry. Palin, stop apologizing and get to some cover. Now he's like all panic. He got beat up, all this, and Kyle's just standing there like all boss in command. Jan, Jedi, Kyle, get out of here. Not likely. So here we go. So again, rescuing his woman. She takes off, very heroic and stuff. And he's all gah. And so they're fighting here. Jan, use the saber on the lock. It'll burn through. And so she picks up the saber. She burns through, already on it. Jedi, don't worry, sweetie. I haven't forgotten about you. So he's being sarcastic to the Vong here. Let me see here. Hello. Hell yeah, Kyle Katarn. Hey there, scruffy looking nerf herder. Jedi, yes. The artist doesn't miss, not a single detail missing. Right, it's amazing. It's like, I love looking at these comics and seeing, and Gibbet is here too. So if anybody else hopped in and I didn't see you, it's because I'm looking at the comic and reading it. But yes, the art in this, friggin' amazing. Amazing. And there they go with the battle. They're fighting here. he gets a knuckle sandwich across the chin here. And let's see here. That really hurt. But then he takes this here, that weapon. So will this. And he stabs right through his chest. And then it's like a little bomb detonator goes off. Bleep, bleep. Bye now. And he runs off, crash, force push or kicks, him into the wall, crashes in, and then it explodes. I would say there's a little bit of force behind that. No pun intended, but yeah, you could take it that way. Perfect timing, Kyle. Looks like some dashing Jedi saved you from the bad guys again. It was quite the rescue, I hear. Excuse me. Oh, as if I haven't saved you from the bad guys a few dozen times. Again, this is their back and forth. This is something that they did with each other or do with each other all the time. So I'm not your hero. Of course you are. Now, will you marry me? No. Oh, you're killing me. And she says, I know. So there it is. So this is why I'm saying some people I've heard in the past, really talk against Jan Ors. I'm telling him no, but she has a good point. She doesn't want to have to be married and not have time with each other. Looking at Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker, and even Han Solo and Leia's marriage, they never really had time to really settle down and honor that marriage. And always going off to war, worrying about another getting killed. And of course, Luke experiences that. The Force gets strong when uses Kyle Katarn. I fell asleep at 10:30 a.m. East waiting for the show. Oh, wow, weren't you here earlier? What's going on? I'm talking to Silver. Let's see here. I hate when it doesn't click. That's not the right one. Here it is. Kyle Katarn at some time had throw a thermal detonator to kill 100 Vong, and then the detonator exploded. There you go. And smash the like. So this, I just wanted to get into this little bit of event here. So I know that I think during this time, maybe, or close to this time, Luke is out searching for Zonama Seacot as well. We'll get into that event coming up as well. And I really don't think Kyle Katarn was a part of that journey. I don't recall he was. So he stayed within the galaxy, within the greater galaxy. and stuff. So this is a little, a little story of one of the Jedi during this time, doing their service to the galaxy and help protecting and other worlds, I guess you can say, and other people and stuff like that. And this is, also his relationship with Jan Ors, and they still stayed committed. He didn't get offended, other than, he teased about it and stuff like that. And again, like I said, they still stayed committed. Now, would we have seen maybe a future marriage or whatever in the future if Disney didn't buy Lucasfilm? Maybe. Let's see here. Luke was giving the Vong a chance by not calling Kyle on the mission, probably. And then you see, like, later on in Legacy, Kyle almost dies. He almost dies under Darth Caedus or Jason Solo. And that's why I think it was Soul Assassin saying if he was all on his deathbed and Jan Ors was next to him, could that have made her change her mind? Who knows? We won't know. We will never know now. Would there have been any more Katarn children? We wouldn't know. But I thought I'd share this because I'm almost done prepping with the events for this next coming CAF chat. And but because my time has been so busy, I thought, well, maybe we'll visit some other stories going on in the comics and stuff. And I thought this would be a great one, standalone, basically, in a sense, to talk about. So you see that there's still young leadership going on, because there's so many people that have, that have become enslaved, killed, what have you, that just like the Clone Wars, you see a lot of young people stepping up into those leadership roles. Same here. That's why that lieutenant basically seemed a little incompetent. He's a very young in his leadership and stuff, and still very doubtful. And that was even said that, he's relatively new. And so that kind of gives us a glimpse into the state of the galaxy, right? And similar to the Clone Wars in the sense of, recruiting young leadership, because you have a lot of deaths going on. Not the same, but similar. Let's see here. I've only got more New Jedi games if it weren't for certain rats, right? Siri and Obi-Wan had amazing chemistry in both the Jedi Apprentice books and Jedi Quest books. Correct. Kyle's son could be named as Q.R. Morgan Katarn. Yeah. That's so I just wanted to get into this a little bit. So is this your guys' first time experiencing this comic? Now the art, it's amazing. Like I have really no complaints. Of course, some, when we get into the comics and stuff, there's going to be certain exaggerations to characters and their physiques and stuff. It's always common. But when you stay consistent with how they look and stuff like that, that's a plus right there. And here you have Jan Ors here. Her hair's a little longer, which is fine. Perfectly fine. We know her when we first met her. Her hair was relatively short. And you have Kyle Katarn here, a strapping Jedi master, basically. And is he a master by this time? I think he is, right? And, the lines and details here. I still think my favorite one, Star Wars comic artist, is Jan Duursema. But this right here, I have to say, very, very impressive. I like it. Even with the glowing of the lightsaber, the expressions here, all of that, like the details of the Vong, and all that. They're all hugged up. They're getting ready to kiss here, make out right here, and they get interrupted. That's kind of funny. Yeah, there you go. So very, very fun. I want to say fun, very interesting comic, very wonderful details in the art and all that. We are, let me see here. Impressive, most impressive. we're all thinking it. They are not married, but they must have amazing private time. Look, yep. So marriage doesn't make a couple. It's just a legal commitment that people choose to do. That's all. And stuff. But in the state of Star Wars, we don't know if it's similar to the real world. Damn Vong, let them kiss each other, right? Let them make out, let them have fun. All right. So there you go. Next week, we'll get into the coming events after Star by Star. What's going on with Jason? What happened to Jason Solo? And then we'll start pressing on with the events of the New Jedi Order. I hope everything's okay with you. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next subject, cringe factor. But before we get into that, let's add some more cringe. Let's see, what do I want to add? Let's see here. Where's that one? Here we go.
I can always point to two female characters that made a huge impression on me. One would be Leia, the other would be the character of Eowyn from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. I won't go into that, it's not my franchise, but Lynn will appreciate that I don't. But the idea that Eowyn slew the Witch King, slayed him, blew my mind as a kid. I had to go back and read that chapter several times in a row right there. Because as a young boy, I had never come in contact with that concept. That this woman took out this main terrifying villain.
And I was kicked out of this. Hello. So there you go. One bit of cringe factor. So let's get into the rest of it.
So uncivilized.
All right. So again, let's get into what I was talking about. What the hell is going on with Jedi being villains and Sith being heroes? So let's get into this. Let me go ahead and make a full screen of this. Here we go. So again, thank you to Screen Rant for the contribution. I never checked CBR or anything in a while. I need to do that because you never know. They might have a little gold mine of cringe factor. You know, these pop culture news sites usually do. No new Jedi Order spoilers. Only finished up by Star by Star. Well, then you'll be going into the next events with us. So there we go. There we go. Why is it so short? What do you mean so short? All right, let's get into this. All right. So Screen Rant by Thomas Bacon. Also, we have Mr. Porkster back. Star Wars new TV show will turn the Sith into a hero and the Jedi into villains. Again, by our famous piggy here. All right. And see, Star Wars Visions. So, Disney Star Wars Visions. Isn't that the what ifs? Is that the what if stuff here that people are like, oh, if only Disney can make this kind of stuff, this will be so good. Star Wars will be saved. Is this what this is? All right. Season 3 will finally tell one story featuring the Sith as a hero and the Jedi Grandmaster as a Jedi Grandmaster as a villain. A Jedi Grandmaster as a villain. There are many ranks to the Jedi, and the Jedi Grandmaster is considered the most venerable of them all. Now, Disney has already basically made the PT Jedi villains, in a sense, whereas George Lucas made them just the victims of the Sith, right? Because the Sith came in, manipulated, used the Jedi, I guess you could say, code and moralities against them in a sense, to where he knew how they were going to respond, and he used that to manipulate, right? So Did the Jedi have a dogmatic practice in a sense? Yes, but that doesn't make them villains and doesn't make them, bad either. There are some things that they need to go and self-reflect on, but that is beside the point. They were never the villains, and they were never the reason, or I wouldn't say reason. It was never their fault for the fall of the Republic. They too were the victims, and even Sidious lied about them in the events leading up to him taking power. So there you go. So, but now Disney is making them pure on like a villain, like it's their fault for everything. And if you haven't seen that pattern, I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you're burying your head. And let's see here. Quiet Drawer 66 says is here. Hello. I don't think I remember seeing you here before. If I've said hello to you before, I apologize for not remembering. Wouldn't want that. I prefer the Sith to be evil. No what if junk. Let me see. OG, before Disney bought, what actress would you like to play Siri? Would you like an actress that worked for Ewan McGregor so the chemistry would be strong? That would take a bit of consideration and exploration and research for me to give you a flat out honest answer. So I don't have one in mind right now. Star Wars Infinity is better than, yeah. Let's see here. So it was just great minds think alike. I'm like reading from the bottom to the top. So from the newest to the oldest. So George Lucas, I sold the franchise. I don't need to care anymore, but I care. What the fuck? KK? Yeah. Let's see here. Visions was an anime series, I think. Yeah. So, but was Visions, is this actual canon to their, I would say, quote unquote, canon or, continuity to their overall Star Wars? All right. In Star Wars, in the Disney Star Wars canon, the Jedi Master is typically the oldest and the wisest of the Jedi. I want to say the oldest because, if you know the lore pre-Disney, you knew that Mace had the opportunity to be the Grand Master, and he stepped down. He stepped away from that. He's like, nope. And I think that was him, or was it just someone just right under the title of Grand Master? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it might be a title underneath the Grand Master. I just can't think of what that was. But anyways, to go back to that oldest and wisest, well, Luke was Grand Master. He was definitely not the oldest. Was he wise? Hell yeah, he was wise. He had a lot of experience underneath his belt, from failures of overcoming things to success, right? The one we're all familiar with is Yoda, who was also the most powerful Jedi of his age, at least until Anakin Skywalker came along. Yoda's age and power are likely connected. Lucas intended certain ancient races to have higher midichlorian counts. Now, we're about to see what happens when a Jedi Grandmaster clashes with a Sith. Surprisingly, though, this time the Jedi is the villain. So going back to like him saying Lucas intended certain ancient races to have higher midichlorian counts. Did he ever say that about Yoda's species? I don't recall, and I don't think he has. In fact, he kept them a mystery. But I just wanted to see if you guys know that in the chat, or if you guys have any further information to share with me and the chat. Star Wars Ronin is a rogue Sith. A rogue Sith? What? Okay. A rogue Sith. Sith are always out for themselves. Okay, well, anyways, let's go on. Oh, I hate this thin look of that. I know it's stylistic choice for this anime type thing, but I just don't care for that. But anyways, Disney Star Wars Visions is an unusual TV show with each episode created by a different animation house of arguable canonicity to Disney. So Disney canonicity, I guess you could say. This gives a creative team as much flexibility as they need to be creative. You could still be creative. When you're creating a franchise, you're going to have to adhere to the world building rules and stuff like that, right? So, and it doesn't hinder creativity. It just expands more, because then you have to, work around and be creative around what is established. That's where a strong sense of creativity can happen, right? Kamikaze Duga's season 1 story, The Duel, introduced viewers to the Ronin, a unique character in Star Wars history. The Ronin was a former Dark Jedi, or Dark Lord of the Sith, who turned rogue, hunting his former allies to extinction. So, I don't know the Disney lore and this lore. So was he a part of a larger group of Siths for him to turn rogue and want to go and on a killing spree and kill his allies so that he's the only existing Sith? Kind of reminds me of a certain group of Sith that we've read about, that, Darth Bane, was the purpose of Darth Bane for creating the rule of 2? I wonder. All right. Anyways, quote unquote, The Duel is generally seen as one of the Vision's best episodes. It's been adapted into both manga and novel formats, and the Ronin story is set to continue in season 3. So let's see, and it says it's about to duel a Grand Jedi Grandmaster. Tie-ins have revealed that Ronin was a key figure of the Sith movement of his age, a mentor to many who was responsible for countless new lightsaber designs. He was essentially the wisest Sith of his era, which makes his decision to hunt down and kill his former allies all the more shocking. Why was it shocking that Sith will hunt down and kill other Sith to gain power? And how does that make him a hero? How does that make him a hero? Yeah, exactly. Creativity can be better in established lore because it forces you to work harder and make an interesting story, correct? That's what it seems like, right? Sith killing other Sith. Wow, how shocking, right? Let's see here. So basically, he's a Junta Pal R Zandor. Okay, let's go on. It also means one particular plot twist is so very appropriate. Let me see here. Screen Rants. Molly Brazil attended Star Wars Celebration. Oh, she's a shill. Okay. She is a Disney shill. I'm going to have to investigate her this year, where she learned that Vision Season 3 will see that the Ronin face off against the Jedi Grandmaster of his time. He may be hunting the Sith, but he still wields the red lightsaber after all. Let's see here. The duel offered a spellbinding battle between two dark side users. Now we're about to kamikaze I'm sorry if I'm butchering this one better. Telling a story in which a rogue Sith Lord and a Jedi Grandmaster go up against one another with former Sith as a hero. It's easily one of the most exciting prospects of the upcoming Star Wars show. So they don't say how that makes him a hero. So him killing other people, other Sith, makes him a hero? Or does that make him wanting to be the only Sith Lord as we see in the original lore? Sith kill each other so they can gain power. Doesn't make them a hero for killing each other whatsoever. It doesn't. So is this going to make him a hero because he's killing other? And because the Grandmaster fights him because they're Sith and we don't know the whole story. There's this assumption going on here that that Grandmaster is evil or bad because he is dueling against a Sith. I don't know. So this is very confusing, kind of cringe factor in its sense that they're making it sound like this Sith Lord or whatever is a good guy because he's killing all the other allies that he once, were friends with as Sith or whatever, and that he's the wisest of the Sith. And so killing all the other allies because he wants a power. He wants to remain as the only Sith, maybe. And so this Grandmaster that he's going to be up against is a bad guy because they're fighting and he's ridding the galaxy of the Sith. I don't know. It's weird. Weird. Crazy. Darth Vectivus was the only good Sith. Let's see here. Star Wars Visions is an animation anthology with the different styles and stories. It's not canon in Disney Star Wars as far as I know, but it does stick to Disney Star Wars lore rules. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like quasi canon, I guess you can say, because it sticks to their rules, but it can or cannot be depending. I don't know. So that's weird. I don't think this Timothy Bacon understands Star Wars to really think, oh, well, he's going to be the good guy because he's killing other Sith. Well, that's what they did. Like the Brotherhood of Darkness was one example. Even George explains in Revenge, like why the Jedi got revenge is because and getting into the history of that because the Sith kept on killing each other over dominance and power, and they gained power over the galaxy. And there was a conflict between the Jedi and the Sith, and the Jedi finally eradicated, or so they thought they eradicated. And the Sith came back and got revenge. Hence, we know exactly the events that happened. It's told through Darth Bane. So we have that. So this is very weird. This is very odd. Yes, this is a quasi quote unquote canon story to Disney Star Wars, but this is not it. This is telling because, like I said, in Disney lore, Star Wars lore, they are making the PT Jedi look like the bad guys, the villains. All right, let's see here. You need that sound bite of the dog saying, "It's bacon." I know, right? For that one. Yeah, Rogue Sith. I mean, I can't if I had like Rogue Sith. What? No, there's no such thing as a Rogue Sith. Crazy. That's like saying every Sith that kills the other Sith to gain power is rogue or something. Like they're a part of this greater organization. I don't know. It's weird. So Darth Bane is the ultimate hero because he brought them to near extinction. I know, right? Darth Bane. Wait, you're telling me that I'm a hero then? Laugh out loud. Right. Right. So this is cringe factor here. Kind of more laughable than anything else. Darth Bane is my hero. There you go. Yes, I need a Sith clip in here because we have a lot of Sith in here. Let me see here. What do I have in here? No, I don't have anything other than I have two of the same clips. But let's go ahead and play this, even though it's let's play this.
Are you sure? So be it.
It kicked me out of that thing again. All right. That's weird. Okay. So one last thing before we close it out here. Some of you guys may have seen Tartavoski saying he would like to come back to Lucasfilm to create more animation stories. What are your thoughts about that? I'm not going to pull up any clips. I'm tired of looking for clips and stuff like that. But that's the news. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a mistake? Do you think he's going to be honored like how George gets honored and worked with him on creating Clone Wars 03? Do you think that it could save Star Wars? So I just thought have a small little chat with you guys. I just want to get your opinion on here. I can care less, and I think that he would not be a fit creative wise, and I think it would be a big mistake. That's me. However, it's Disney Star Wars. They're going to bring back anybody or anything as long as they adhere to their rules, right? So what do you think? Tartavoski, Disney, Star Wars. Do you think it's a match? Do you think it's going to be a mistake on his part? Do you even care? Do you even care? So I have one response here. Actually, I have two. Bad idea. He won't have freedom like Lucas gave him. Plus, he'll have Filoni hounding him constantly. And that's another thing. Because just imagine when George seen how well Clone Wars 03 was perceived, or how everybody loved it, and it gave him an idea of creating a bigger story that we got here out of TCW, right? So that was the birth of TCW. And the first person he thought about overseeing and creating that was Tartavoski. And he went to Tartavoski personally, and they went through negotiations. Tartavoski had some ideas that he presented that they negotiated about, and in the end, it pandered to nothing. He walked away, and Lucas still had the plan, and so they went through a hiring process, and I think it was Kathleen, I think her name is, the one that hired Filoni. So Filoni was never brought in personally by Lucas. It was Tartavoski that was, right? And Tartavoski didn't get what he negotiated, so he turned everything down. And then we get Filoni and TCW. Now, how would that work? Relationship with this Filoni being the chief creative officer, and Tartavoski coming in, and the one that's being first approached and only approached by George Lucas, not Filoni. You would kind of say that Tartavoski was the quote unquote apprentice that George wanted, not Filoni. Filoni is the second hand, right? Filoni is the second hand. I'm going to go there. How do you think that relationship would work? Knowing that you were the second-hand choice to a man that heightened the Clone Wars and put more ideas into George's head regarding the Clone Wars. Yeah, I like to bring up things that may feel uncomfortable in a thought process. Like there's people here that are big, not here, but in general, that are Filoni faithfuls, right? That are Filoni faithful. And then you have people who are like seeing the bigger picture with Tartavoski's Clone Wars 03, and were very hyped up for the next project and got very disappointed because they already were involved in the multimedia project and all that, right? So imagine, and I really think Filoni is a pompous ass and wouldn't be so kind to Tartavoski. That's me. So I just wanted to bring this thought process out and, offer these questions, something to think about. Not a perfect fit at all. And from there, I think it would be a bad choice for everyone all around. I don't think that Tartavoski should tarnish his reputation of what he did under George by going back to the mouse control. So Genndy Tartavoski getting into the same room with Filoni. Sniff, sniff. I smell a hoe here. There you're points to Filoni's direction. Yep. Oh my God, these cats are raising hell in this house. 20 years later, and people still praise Tartavoski Clone Wars. Nobody talks about Filoni Clone Wars duds, right? Let me see here. Is there an art of book for Tartavoski Star Wars Clone Wars that I want to see? You know what? I don't think I've ever seen one, really. It was such a small but very in-depth project that sparked more stories, animated stories for Clone Wars, that I don't think there is. But, I could be wrong. I'd never seen one. I would definitely have had it on my source book shelf if there is. So if there is one, share it in the link. Let's see if we can get it on our bookshelves, right? They'll make Tartavoski bend the knee, suck his soul out, then force him to puke out slop. Let's see here. The true apprentice taking orders from the usurper, right? The greatest Tartavoski, the biggest regret Tartavoski ever made. I don't know if he've ever regretted walking away after not getting what he negotiated. I think it's the biggest mistake George ever made for not wanting to talk further in these negotiations and working out something with Tartavoski. Not a good idea, won't work out for him. Imagine if they ended up with Glenn Mirakami instead. Let's see here. Genndy, my friend, you bow to no one. Let's see here. Now imagine me being a producer hired by George Lucas who had me select who could make more Clone Wars. Nah, Tartavoski, unlike Filoni, had other franchises to work with. There we go. All right, so I just wanted to bring that up. Not a good fit, not a good idea. It's a thought and stuff like that. But I don't think you'd ever get the same result. So I just thought I'd bring that up. That bit of Star Wars news. You know what? Nope. Sorry. Not next week, the week after. Thank you for the correction. I will be off on vacation. I'm going to the coast. There's going to be deep sea fishing and all of that. So just perfect time to get away before we have the new edition in the family and stuff like that and hanging out with family. So yeah, so not next week, but the week after. We'll get into the events with Jason Solo. Yeah, and Navong and his capture, all of that. Speaking of Mr. Tartavoski, I believe he had made fixed today. He may have fixed today-ish. What? I don't understand what you're saying. But yeah, George should double the price on Genndy to make TCW with him. I wonder how that would have been. We can only think about what ifs, but with the quality of Clone Wars 03, that would have been fucking phenomenal, right? Like seeing it in the movies and then a series. Sun's out, buns out. Let's see here. Jesus Christ, it's Jason Solo. Yes. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and close out here a little bit early so that I can grab a bite to eat before I go to my appointment and stuff. And thank you guys again. Love being here with you guys for CAF Chat. Again, this Sunday for the channel members and those who become channel members, 6 p.m. book club listen party of the Young Jedi Knights book 4. So I am so excited to begin this next book with you guys. See you guys then. And of course, again, no CAF Chat. Thank you again. I know I slipped and said next week's CAF Chat because that's all. It's just normal for me to say. It's like every week we have CAF Chat, but not, well, usually. So the following week, CAF Chat, getting into the events of Jason Solo and his capture as a prisoner and going with that. So thank you guys again, and hopefully you guys will find this comic and put it on your bookshelf. It is book of the week, by the way, equals and opposites. So check it out. Hopefully you guys are still collecting up your Star Wars library, collecting for your Star Wars library and comics, finding them right reasonable prices, avoiding the Legends label as all possible. I do understand there's circumstances where you can't with some books, especially the ones that were printed after the buyout that were still considered under the EU. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys again for always hanging out. We will see you again for book club or the following week for CAF chat, what have you, and also on Pierre's channel for the part 2 of unadulterated Star Wars. So see you then as well. Have a good day, and let me find something fun to play. Let's do this.
The fate of the galaxy is now in your hands. With the new LEGO Star Wars Slave 1, you can load Captain Solo, arm your weapon systems, man the cockpit, and take off with the most feared ship in the galaxy. But watch out for rebel ships. No matter the enemy, no matter the firepower, you control the action. With the new LEGO Star Wars collection.
Tauntaun? What is it? Wampa! Wampa!
New Tauntaun, Wampa, and action figures, each sold separately.
Han Solo! Help! Oh no! It's got Luke! Wampa! Watch it, Tauntaun! Gotcha!
New Tauntaun comes with an open belly rescue feature.
You'll be okay, Luke, as soon as I chase away that thing. Wampa! Wampa!
New Tauntaun and Hoth Wampa and other action figures, each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
Another happy landing.